Well, here it is. That moment where you know you need to click or hit the start button, but you're just not 100% sure if every single one of the bolts is where they need to be, if every gasket and seal is right, if any one of the 100 or 1,000 parts is not quite perfect. Because if any one thing is wrong, it could cause failure. We could end up back where we were in May or whenever it was. Like, it's months since this thing's run properly. There's that feeling of, have I got every single bolt right? Have I got every single component of that engine correct? If any one thing is wrong, we could end up with another broken engine, another spun bearing, a bent rod, or whatever it could be. There's so many components, there's so tight tolerances. An internal combustion engine is just an insane piece of engineering, and you think, who came up with this and how did they make it work? And it's amazing that it does. And then you've just got this fluid oil that just sloshes about in there and keeps everything from just grinding itself and rubbing itself to obliteration. It's insane, the engineering that goes into these things. But with all of that set aside, it's time for me to hit the go button. It's time to see if the fully reconditioned engine with the forged bottom end, the new valve springs, the new throttle body, and even the turbo manifold and the turbocharger, all of these bits are fresh and new, and are they going to work? Don't hold your breath, but cross your fingers. So being a completely brand new fresh engine, there's no oil in it. I've got a nice big 5-litre jug of brand new mineral oil, because it's a fresh build. You generally run a mineral until everything's bedded in. But we need to be careful that we get oil pressure before we really try and fire things up. So I'll disconnect the spark plugs, I'll pull them out of the engine, I'll remove the fuel injector feed so that there's no fuel getting pumped into the engine, and then I'll run the starter motor. It'll take about 30 seconds just constantly having the engine spin, but eventually oil pressure will build. It will take time, and that's just the case. It's a fresh engine, and all the oil is literally in the sump. There's nothing really anywhere else. We've obviously got some assembly lube in there from when the awesome engine builders put this engine back together, or at least the bottom end side of things, but it's dry. So it's going to take time, and in this case about 30 seconds. The starter motor with no spark plugs in will have no problem spinning the engine over. It'll just go, it will spin the motor. Eventually the oil pump will build that pressure. Thankfully I've got the oil pressure sensor feeding into the ECU. I'll plug the laptop in, I'll be able to see that oil pressure build up. It will take time. Once we hit sort of 20 or 30 psi, I know I'm in a nice place. I've got oil running throughout the engine and the turbo. And we plug everything back in, put the spark plugs back in, and we hit the go button, and hopefully it fires and runs and it purrs to life, and hopefully it sounds happy. Anyway, let's make it happen.
So we're going to crank it.
Try and prime it. What do you think?
Yeah, so we've got to watch oil pressure, don't we?
So all our connectors are right, all of our bits and pieces are right. We've got injectors and ignition disconnected. I'll just press the button and brake. Yeah? Didn't really overbuild any pressure, did it? More?
Mm-hmm. probably take 30 seconds, I'd say.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've done, when I did it in the past, I changed the oil and leave the plugs off. And
Okay.
first you think, oh, it's not going to do it, and
It just takes time.
yeah, it takes time. But you got to think there. It's got to
build up that.
It's got to fill everything up too.
Yeah,
You know, it's not only just.
It's got to build up that initial
It's got
pressure.
to pump oil through all that.
Yeah.
All
Well, there's the lines, thankfully, the cooler's blocked off by the thermostat, so it's not too bad. Across your panties.
Big alternator.
Alternator belt.
Is it because it's cut in and the battery's flat, it's really working as guts in it?
Maybe. We'll tension it up. It's not loose, is it? A little bit loose.
Yeah, it got hot quick.
The belt?
Yeah.
No, all that spinning.
Starting to get the heat off the manifold.
Yeah, so we've got new wrap, which will probably dry up and smoke a bit, and then obviously everything that we've attached here is all greasy. That's going to burn off some of that oils and things. Idle's a bit high, probably because of the new throttle body. Coolant temps are coming up. We go back to here. Oil pressure's good. Oil temps slowly coming up.
It's good. It's good. Praise whichever God you choose to praise or not. It's running. It fires up pretty easy. It fired up pretty well. Hot start's not quite perfect, but we'll get there. But it's fixed. Yes. We need to tune it, so it's time to book in with the tuner. Get the thing perfect. No more broken bits. No more dodgy tunes that aren't running well, no more bent rods, no more cracked manifolds, no more old used turbos. It's all new gear. New gear means it's reliable, it's going to last. It's a new fresh engine, hopefully that means it lasts a long time. We're not chasing big power, we're looking at 300 horsepower maybe. We want to keep it under the sort of limits of the gearbox, because you're depending on how you drive and what sort of power you're putting out and what sort of torque levels you're running at, what sort of RPMs, you can hurt these gearboxes kind of easily. So I'm going to keep the torque to a limit so that in the higher RPMs we can run a bit more power, in the lower RPMs we need to keep the power down a bit lower, because torque is relative to power and RPM. Anyway, all of that needs to happen, but it's fixed again. I'm going to book the tuner as soon as I can. I'll text them right now and say, hey, can we book this thing in? Once that's done, I'll do a little bit buttoning up. I need to probably make a new heat shield because I want to keep that heat out of the engine bay and try and keep it flowing through the exhaust. Other than that, I think she's about right. Most of the other stuff is already working. I am going to put a new set of larger injectors on. Currently still running the Deutschwerk 700-ish, whatever the size they are. I'm going to the new Flowforce 960cc injector. It'll mean we can safely run more boost with E85, we can safely run more power, and a bit of headroom, which is a good thing. There's a feeling of relief knowing that your engine's working again. It sounded so good, it just ran it started really well. That's credit to Alex and his fantastic cold start settings, even on E85. Yes, progress has been made, it has been good. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to watch future episodes, so make sure you hit the subscribe button, because then you'll see this thing. Oh man, it's gonna be good when it's back on track. It'll be going fast, faster than MX-5 in Australia, right? Maybe, maybe not, but up there, up there. Hey, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.